Hello, hello, everyone. Just making sure everything's working. I'm just dropping in to say hi and also possibly do a few readings if anyone shows up here today. Um, and I'd like to let you know what's happening in my community. Um, in our Love Being community, we are exploring freedom and liberation. And we just started for the month of July. And the topic, freedom and liberation, I think a lot of us automatically go to like the freedoms that we have, right? Which are, we can easily talk about the political climate, what's happening in the United States right now. Um, from that lens, I think we could have an amazing dialogue. But when I'm talking about freedom and liberation, I'm talking about the ultimate internalized freedom. There are so many of us, and I use the collective us, that have struggled with some level of holding on to pain, harm, hurt, the stories that we have that sometimes have impacted our perception of self, how we navigate the world, the patterns that we continue to experience throughout the course of our life. And we've wanted to release those, to let them go, to no longer be worried about them or to no longer carry that burden. And sometimes, as an example, there are things like, actually, I'm not going to go into examples. I'm not going to go into examples because I can be here all day doing that. But there are things sometimes where we're wanting to release something, and addiction falls into this. We want to change something about ourselves that we've struggled with for years and years and years. It could be something as simple as a habit, or it could be something as significant as an addiction of some sort. And one of the things in having conversations about this, we consider what would it be like to no longer be burdened by this experience, be overwhelmed by this experience? What would it be like to not live in this cyclical pattern that continues to happen? And sometimes it happens and you don't even realize you're doing it again. You don't even realize you're in it until you're in it and you're like, how did I get here again? Right? And so the question is, what would it be like? What would your experience of life be like if you didn't return back to this behavior, this perspective, this pattern, this like what would your life be like? Far often, more often than not, it's the better term, more often than not, people say I would feel free. There would be a sense of freedom to not be consumed by worry or thoughts or frustrations, where I could just not, it wouldn't even be a thought in my mind. It wouldn't even be anything that I would be bothered by or consumed by in some cases. I could literally go through life without having to think about it again. And that in itself is freedom. That's freedom. And sometimes it's actually showing up as your authentic self, not worried about what people think or feel about you, not consumed by expectations that maybe others have placed on you and you've just adopted this way of being. To really release that and not feel so overwhelmed by the pressures or the expectations that have been placed upon you. And you did your job, right? You took them on and you said, this is who I am. This is my identity. So this is how I'm going to show up. What would it be like? What would it be like to release that and to feel free from that? and to be able to express yourself authentically. That's freedom. That's freedom. And one of the things that I have in my own personal journey, in my own life, being able to just show up without any reservation or trepidation, and without, I don't want to say I care, because it's not as though you don't care about others, but others' experience of me is up to them. That's their own business. It's not mine. Now, when I say that, there's a little part within me that often thinks about the perspective of, well, I just show up as I am. And if people don't like it, well, then F them. Like, that's not the energy that I'm talking about. Okay. So for me, showing up from a place of love, because I think that's one of our ultimate goals. If there was a goal, it's to recognize the love that we are, that our true essence is love. The core of all that we are is love. And from that is perceiving and using the lens of love in your actions, interactions, how you make meaning of things, how you experience others. Does it mean that you have rose-colored glasses? It doesn't mean that you allow things to occur that are unacceptable to you, because a large part of seeing through the lens of love is recognizing that loving yourself is also a significant experience of expressed love, right? Loving ourselves. So it doesn't mean that we dismiss things that are unacceptable and we don't pretend like they're not there. We call that spiritual bypassing. Some people call it toxic positivity. There's lots of names for when we just sort of gloss over things. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is showing up in a way that values and honors your needs, being able to articulate those needs that in ways that is not harmful to others, but that is assertive. And most people have not actually learned how to speak in ways that are assertive and not attacking or blaming. And so that in itself is a skill, right? And it's like, I'm coming in the direction of ensuring that I'm navigating through life and engaging with others and being a contributing member of society in a way that is loving and emotionally responsive to others, and yet not abandoning myself. There is a freedom in that. There is an absolute freedom in that, because you are no longer concerned, as long as, again, you show up from a place of honoring yourself and being respectful to others. There's no longer a concern of what other people think of you. And there's a freedom in that. And so if you are in that space of thinking about, wondering about what it would be like for you to truly experience that, it's the freedom within, then I would love to invite you to our community. My website is actually IamLoveBeing.com. So if you want to just type in I Am Love Being, there's also a link, I believe, in the description that you can go to just check out what we're doing in our community. So yeah, like to invite you, and let me know how you're doing, because there's a ton of you that we were connected for quite a bit of time in our Facebook group, and then I left to develop the same sort of community, but on another platform. So I would love to connect with you. Let me know how you're doing. I'll be popping in here and again to do some free readings. the way that I've used to do free readings. And also, if you would like a reading, a paid reading, check out my website. You can get in touch with me here or on the website, and we can arrange to do a meeting. Okay. Talk soon.